Hey, how are you? How are you, Brian? I'm doing fine.
Good.
And to your question that you asked in the beginning of taking calls,
Yep.
you said who was the hero in the press conference? Zelensky was the hero 200%. Okay, he was the bigger man in the room. Okay, and the other people in that room were not leveling to his ankle.
Is that the sentiment I get from most Canadians that have the same take on as yours?
I hope you will,
Yeah.
because mine is that Zelensky was the man in the room,
Has
the real
Trudeau
man.
has Trudeau
Uh,
has Tru,
uh,
sir, has Trudeau spoken publicly his thoughts on that meeting?
I didn't see yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I cannot answer that.
I know he was
But
at the meeting over the weekend. I know he was there over the weekend with Zelensky.
no, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know too, and
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was there to support Ukraine because that's the national feeling here that we are behind Ukraine 200% as well. And and the part you saw also that when someone said he doesn't wear a suit, Zelensky. Okay, if you remember in history, okay, when Winston Churchill, okay, went to the United States, okay, to basically meet the president there, okay,
Yeah.
he wasn't wearing a suit then because why? He was in war,
You know,
and that's the reason
this
why
is
he didn't
what
wear a suit.
isn't it interesting, Claude, that this is what they are focusing on. They are focusing, okay, on what, and when I say they, I mean the right wingers. They're focusing on what Zelensky um, was wearing, right? He was wearing a tie, or he wasn't wearing a tie, and he should be wearing a tie. They're not focusing on the fact that Putin invaded Ukraine. They're not focusing on the fact that they're going to give Putin everything that he wants, which is to make sure that UK doesn't enter NATO and to give them land that he can take over. They're not focusing on thousands and thousands of innocent people that have lost their lives. No, some moron who's banging butch bod is focused on the fact that Zelensky's not wearing a suit, and all the MAGA morons out there are salivating over the question as if that matters. It's so absurd. And if you want to talk about decorum, what about when Joe Biden did his State of the Union and you had idiots like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene wearing "Make America Great Again" hats and pinned up everywhere, looking like the clowns that they are. But all of a sudden, decorum doesn't matter during the State of the Union. But if Vladimir Zelensky, who's facing war right now, isn't wearing a tie, somehow they have a big problem with that. It's so absurd. I want to go to back callers in Canada. Let's go to Yvonne. Yvonne is also calling from Canada. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Brian. Claude was totally right about the fact that Churchill didn't was wearing military gear as well. But my thought was about the meeting. J.D. Vance said, "You need to thank us." Why the heck would Zelensky thank J.D. Vance and Trump when J.D. Vance voted against funding Ukraine, and Trump actually froze the military aid that was already appropriated to go to Ukraine? It doesn't make sense to me at all.
It doesn't make sense to me either. Here's the only thing that I could say, okay? I know that Donald Trump seems to side with and looks up to evil, murderous dictators. We all know that, that's for sure. I think that Putin has
Mm-hmm.
something else on him. There's got to be something else going on there because Trump will never call him a dictator. Trump will never say he started the war. There's something that Putin has on Donald Trump, and I don't know what it is. But we'll have to get down to the bottom of it. Maybe we'll never find out. I don't know. But the only way to make sense out of this is to say Trump sides with evil dictators because I think that's something he wants to be. He wants to be a king and he wants to be a dictator. But it ain't going to happen as far as when I'm living in this country. Hopefully it's not going to happen. But that's what he wants.
There is information out there that Trump was recruited by the KGB back in the 80s. So I'm sure that's going to be coming to the forefront soon.
It very well might be, ma'am. And I really do appreciate your call. You're not going to be the 51st state. Trudeau is not going to let Donald Trump walk all over him. And most of the world sides with Zelensky and Ukraine.